My brother has been an absent parent. Now he wants to take over.
He's like, I'm tapping out. I'm going to tap you in. You ready?
So, am I the a-hole? My brother had a child right after graduating high school. And my mother, who has always favored him, stepped right in to care for this child. He married the baby mama, but it was short-lived. Then, like most people in the early 20s, he wanted to be free, have fun like a little bird. By the way, this comes from traditional age 6299. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/okstorytime, our little subreddit. So, my niece grew up with my mom, seeing her parents on occasion. Honestly, my brother would breeze in every couple of weeks and be like a big brother to her. This always bothered me. She's now grown herself, married with 3 kids of her own. She's an excellent mother. I'm very proud of her. And about 10 years after having her, he met another toxic woman. They got married and began having kids right away, like popping them out. You know,
just bang, bang, bang.
He actually knew her for 2 weeks when she quit her job and then moved in with him. So in the 20 years they've been married, she's never worked again.
I was about to say, when you know, you know. I was going to say it as a joke, but clearly one worked
they
out.
knew. Oh my God. And they've had 6 kids. She is obsessed with babies, but once they get about 2 or 3 years old, she's not very interested anymore. Yikes. He just kept giving in to this regular user ion to make her happy. Meanwhile, even though he has a great job, money has been tight. I helped them out some early on because I worried about my nieces and nephews, but as they continued to make more kids after my helping, I quit doing so. I firmly believe my mom has continued to do so whenever she could, and mind you, she is on a very fixed income. She would not make it if my sister and I didn't help her financially. That is one thing my sister will do, send money for my mom. So even after my brother remarried, his first daughter was never part of that family. The second wife did not want her to be. My mom, his enabler, has made every excuse under the moon. There's no excuse for that, though. After 20 years of marriage and 6 kids, 2 are grown, another almost grown, 3 still have young ones, his wife asked for a divorce. I have no idea what happened, as I do not want to get too deep in this drama, but since she's never had any desire to work, I assume there's another man promising her thing. My mom had to move in with me about 5 years ago due to health issues. I'm her caregiver, including doctor's visits, picking up medicine, all the grocery shopping, taking all the errands, cooking for her, cleaning for her, etc. She has always loved to drive. Up until 2 years ago, she still drove and could do more for herself, but suddenly she became scared to do so. I have no idea what this is about. Maybe she ran over someone and didn't tell you.
She's got the deepest, darkest secret.
Yeah. I feel like she hit something and doesn't want you to know.
Well, this happened to a friend of mine. I got a buddy who just can't drive right now because they just get they have like a anxiety, like panic attack type situation.
I'm not getting panic attacks, but I am becoming a worse and worse driver day by day.
Yeah, I think I know why.
Yeah.
I'm really clued in as to why you are. You have to stop letting your car drive itself.
It's so bad.
You can't keep doing this all the time.
Bad. It's great.
No.
It's great. I was terrified of taking the wheel in the McDonald's drive-thru. I hit the curb. I literally take over the wheel for like 20 seconds.
Don't you want to fly planes
and
someday?
I hit the curb.
I will say that those Tesla tires, they hit the curb so easy. I hit the curb yesterday.
It's totally the tires. You're right. Suddenly, she became scared to do so, to drive. I have no idea what this is about. So that has actually made her more dependent. So his wife wanted a divorce, and he came right to my mom for sympathy. He stayed with us a few months, and it was absolutely... I've always known he likes his... but had no idea how bad it is. So maybe the wife divorced because of some drinking problem. He spent a considerable amount of time in the spare bedroom just drinking when not working, and it would often make him confrontational, so he'd get a little mad. My mom would make excuses for this too, that he missed the kids so much and was depressed. Finally had to make it clear that it was my home, and I am not having that. Shortly after that, he got his own place. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I will hold my judgment for later.
I could tell that my mom was furious with me, but there was not much she could say. And I stepped up for her, and she knows what he was doing was not right. So one of the teenagers got into it with their mom. This is one of the teenagers of OP's brother and now his becoming ex-wife. And she called child services on her mom. I have no idea who is right or wrong. This teenager can be drama, but so is their mom. It's really just a taste of her own medicine. But now there's a whole investigation going on, and my brother wonders if he may end up with custody of them all.
Well, not if you're spending all your time drinking in the spare bedroom.
Because he is the one with a good job who can provide. I can tell he's not thrilled with this idea, but he does love those kids. I would hope so.
So he's out of the spare bedroom now, right? He moved out,
Yeah,
so he's getting the drinking maybe under control to some level.
Yes. So he continually worries my mom is sick with all this. I hear her on the phone multiple times a day since I work from home, trying to be his therapist, telling him how to go about it, find a bigger place, enrolling them in different schools, and making it work if he gets them. But I can also tell from these conversations that he's trying to get her to assist him with it. Again, this mom has like no money.
Yeah.
The mom is living with OP because she has no money, and any money that she does have is going to like support these kids. There's no way she can do that. And if she volunteers to do it, that will all just fall on me. And I cannot take it anymore. I've had some female health problems of my own, and I'm probably going to have major surgery. I have nothing else to give right now. I have no children of my own, so I've always doted on my nieces and nephews. Every vacation they've been on, I have provided it. And not to brag, but these have been nice vacations. The beach, Disney, even a cruise. I want to do this for them because we never got anything like that growing up. I've also paid for every single school lunch for every one of them since they've been in school. I know that seems minor, but when you think about $250 a day per child times 6, that adds up. And I've had them on a regular basis for years. They're at least with me one weekend a month, sometimes two. Some of the older ones do their own things now, but they are always invited. I've also always attended all events at school. School staff know me by first name. My brother works often, and his wife has never been really interested in the kids unless they are babies. So it sounds like the wife has not been interested in the kids since they're babies. The brother hasn't really been there for any of his 6 kids, including the 7th kid that he had from another marriage.
Right, the exiled kid.
The exiled kid. And then OP, the sister, and the mom are the ones raising these 6 kids.
Yeah, from the sounds of it, yes.
That's a lot to put on everyone else.
Yeah, well, hopefully at some point, the kids get to that age where they just start raising each other. Riley knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, brother sharpens brother.
It's like kickstarting an engine, you got to pull the lawnmower a couple times, and then the engine of that family just gets, well, then, you get a couple 10-year-olds in there. They babysit the 3-year-olds. So I've been at school for holiday lunches, parties, field days, plays, awards, etc. And again, I do these things because I want to. I love my nieces and nephews, but here's where the new problem arises. I guess because I have done so much, it's almost expected now. Opie's being taken for granted.
Yeah.
Because of all this work she's been doing for these 6 kids.
Well, you sent us to the beach, you sent us to Disney, you put us on that big boat. What's next? That's all we want to know.
Yeah.
What's
exactly.
next?
You set the bar high.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money.
How much is a Disney beach cruise, Riley?
I saw 15 G's for a family of 4, which that's pretty steep.
Dang!
I don't know if that's accurate.
A family of 4, $3,200 to $10,000 or more.
How long is it?
The 3-day one is $2,500 for a family of 4, and a 7-night is like $4K a person.
Yeah, but what does that look like?
$4K a person? Well, here's where the problem arises. I guess because I have done so much, it's almost expected now as if I'm the 3rd parent. But I am not. So I've felt for a while my brother is hinting to my mom for us to help in some way. I have made it clear. I do not want him moving in my house with all those children. I have a basement, which he has mentioned more than once. I work from home, and I need to have quiet areas. And quite honestly, I do not want to do that. I want to be the cool aunt. If I wanted to be a mom daily, I would have had my own kids.
Yeah, exactly. This is not a what's yours is mine situation.
No. And even if he's not hinting in that direction, he still seems to be wanting our help in some capacity. If he gets custody, I don't think it's right to be obligated. Again, we are not the parents. Of course, since our mom already raised a kid for him, I think her helping seems perfectly normal for him. But there are 2 things wrong with that. First of all, she's not 50 years old anymore. She is almost 80 years old and not in good health. And the second thing is that even if she agrees to anything, it will be her basically volunteering me as I am her caregiver. So hello.
She's like, oh, yeah, I'd do that. Can you do this for me?
Yeah, she doesn't have the mental or physical faculties.
She can't do it.
She can barely get out of bed. She's an old bag of bones.
Yeah, we love our old bags.
We love
of
our old
bones.
bags of bones.
They can't raise 3 children though.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 that are still young, and then there's 3 more that are older. But they're still
Old.
teenagers, so they're not all the way grown
Yeah.
up. They're at the age where they can take care of themselves.
Yeah. Then today I had to take a couple of hours off of work to take her to a doctor's appointment. By the way, I'm the only one who ever does this. OP is the only one that ever does anything.
So where's brother, dude? Where is brother?
Brother's drinking himself away, I think, but he has his own place. He's drinking himself into a hole last week. We heard.
Still not happy about that, though. I'd almost rather you be drinking yourself into a hole in the guest room instead of
At
just
least
like
where we can
alone in
monitor
your
you.
own place.
We don't know that he is drinking himself into a hole, but that's where he was last.
Well, it definitely feels like a great internal excuse to be like, well, this is why I can't be a good parent.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not showing up.
You have to do it all for me. Well, since she lives with me and I work from home, my siblings just always assume I will do it. If I miss work hours, I still have to make those up, but I have just learned to pick my battles. So we got in her car and I could tell something was bothering her. Then, out of nowhere, she says if child services decides kids can't stay with their mom, I will not let them go to foster care. We will have to take them in. How about going to the dad?
It's like we need to get dad back in
tip-top shape.
life-living shape.
Yeah. It sounds like OP can't take those kids in.
I mean, and that's fair.
And that's totally fair. It sucks for the kids. But, you know, like if OP can't really take them in, like that's...
Maybe the exiled daughter can take them in. She's good at it.
Hey, I know you have a few kids of your own, but can you take these 6 kids?
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you when you were growing up, really.
Well, we have to take them in. I have no idea where that came from. So I reminded her that they have a whole other parent, her son. And that as long as they're 2 able-bodied parents, that's who they need to be with. For some reason, this made her so mad. She spent the rest of the ride ignoring me. And if it ever really came down to that, of course, I would not let my nieces and nephews go to foster care. But I don't want to even offer this as an option, as I feel their parents will take advantage of it. And I hate to say that about my brother, but he has been enabled so much that I think he would. I honestly think he would let our elderly mom do the lion's share of it all if I was not there playing defense. I called my sister, this is sister number 2, for help, asking her to confirm and tell her mom that there is no way we can care for children at her age and health. She responded back with a text message saying, I don't want to be in the middle of this. Like I do. I just feel so defeated. These are problems that adults made for themselves, and they should be the ones stressing on them and figuring them out. I went to check on my mom before bed and give her her night medicines, and she informed me that if anything happens, she will be taking the kids in. I just had nothing left to argue with tonight. I'm having a lot of pain with my own health issues, and I'm stressed to the max, but I guess tomorrow I'm going to have to remind her that this is my home. I hate to play that card as I always wanted her to feel at home, but it's my house, and again, I would not let my nieces and nephews go to foster care. She also told me, though, today that I must not love them as much as I say, or else I would be stepping up and taking over. That is not my place, and it's not her place either. I mean, again, I feel like OP saying, hey, I'm not going to totally abandon these kids. I just want the father to have the ability or the opportunity to step up and step in before we take that weight off of his shoulders.
Right. It's like the first move shouldn't be like, all right, well, we need to put all the kids into foster care because the parents aren't able. But it's like the father could be able, and OP is fair in being like, I can't do this.
Give the father the chance to, say yes. I feel like the mother is being like, no, he couldn't possibly take care of 6 kids. But they're his kids, and he did take care of them for at least some period of time.
I don't know, dude. Like, if you're in the middle of an episode, it's not a great environment. We can't just put our hands up and be like, well, there's nothing to be done about that. I guess now OP has to adopt 6 children.
Crazy.
It's like, no.
She's not going to let this go easily. It's more a control thing with her. And the fact that she has an intention of enabling my brother makes me feel like a giant a-hole. But I don't think I'm wrong for setting these boundaries. Me doing so much for these kids is now becoming a punishment for me because, as I asked her earlier, why is so much expected of me? But she does not expect the same for my sister, who is also the other aunt. Again, there's this other sister that could also help, but just was like, I don't even want to get anywhere near this mess. Because it does seem like a mess. And her comeback was that my sister has not even been close to them like I have. So me being a good aunt means I'm supposed to take everything on. I just feel so taken advantage of by people I've helped.
I mean, in a way, that definitely makes sense that it's like if you've been the one providing the most for the kids.
We do have an update. So there have really not been big changes over the last few days since I posted this, except for me holding my ground more and making it clear that I'm not going to do that. My mom ignored me the whole next day, and the day after that, she began trying to be nice. She must have either spoken to my sister or thought it through and realized I am the one in control. But I'm not some control freak who has to call the shots. But in this situation, I wanted some peace. She did mention yesterday that if my brother really needs her, she will go to him. And I told her that she was an adult and that was her choice. But I also said she needs to think about her health. I also heard her over the phone with her sister, my aunt, and I only heard a little bit of it as I was bringing groceries in while she was trying to keep her on the porch. I try not to listen to any of it to keep my sanity. Her sister was telling her that she should really consider going to the assisted living where her friends are. I also heard my aunt saying that I had enough on me already. She mentioned this morning that even if she decided to go to assisted living, they have no openings until the first of the year. So she must have actually spoken to her friends about it. But then she also casually mentioned this morning when I brought her breakfast that she worries she will go there and then my brother will need her help with the kids. I told her that she had nothing else left to give those kids except visiting with them when she can. I informed her she had already raised one child for him and that this was her time to be with her friends and rest. And it was my time to do what I want to do too. I also told her by neither one of us doing it, it would actually build a stronger relationship between him and his kids. Not to mention that the older ones help a lot with the younger ones. She actually agreed, but I also see that she's having a hard time not rushing to help him. She never said she was sorry. She rarely ever does, but she did say that she helps him more because he's willing to ask for it. I reminded her that the very few times my sister and I asked for help when we were still very young teenagers, she told us to figure it out. So we did. And ours were never big asks. One time I needed help with college student aid paperwork, and she said she had no idea how to do it and shut me down. I didn't want money, just assurance. I never asked for help with anything again. I told her that us figuring things out young really helped us so much in the long run. She looked in hard, though, and sad at the same time. Even though physically she's not what she once was, my mom is still very mentally sharp. I could tell she knew I was right about that. Then I noticed my brother had called me twice this afternoon. I have not heard from him at all over the weekend because I'm assuming she told him we had gotten into it about that. She hears from him multiple times a day, and for him to call twice back to back makes me think it's going to be one of those emergency situations. If anybody can make a mountain of a molehill, it's him. Or else he's just waited too long to do something, and now it's a dire situation, which he says most issues are. Man is the man who cried wolf all the time. But either way, I am not rushing to call him back. I have not felt well all day. Right now, I'm just going to focus on my health and my health alone. Getting into the specialist the first part of the September. The Ember cannot come quick enough. Thanks, everyone, again. And we have another update.
All right.
But what are you thinking? Are you thinking this mom is going to just take responsibility once again for the brother's kids? Or do you think we'll finally have this brother do the thing that he must, which is take care of 6 kids?
I'm hoping that the brother wakes up here. I'm hoping we can get some top-down pressure on the brother, some positive pressure, because it's really dicey thing to try to like prompt someone into action when they're doing things that like are wrong or bad. Because if you just go, you're doing wrong things and you're bad, a lot of times that will just make someone do more wrong, bad things because now they feel worse.
Yeah, shame is not a motivator, like you said earlier.
Yes.
It's not a good long-term motivator. I think you can shame someone into doing something right for an afternoon, but I don't know if you can shame someone into doing something right for like a lifetime. All right, we got an update. We got an update too, though. So I've stood strong and absolutely refused to be dragged into the drama or manipulated into taking kids in that have 2 able-bodied parents. Every time my mom or he has brought it up, I have shut them down and walked away. When my mom purposely gets on the phone, speaking to him loudly when I can hear, I just turn on my fan and get back to work.
Clarification really quick. Didn't like CPS say the mother was not fit?
Yeah. So I guess the mother is able-bodied, but maybe not able-minded.
The state has been like, oh, you can't have these.
You can't have those kids. So too able-bodied, while that might be true, I don't know if we want this around the able-bodied mom because the mind seems a little off.
Yeah, she just wants babies.
Just wants babies, just for 3 years. I just turn on my fan and get back to work. Well then, tonight, my brother called me drinking as he always does on the weekends, and he said he wasn't, but it was very obvious he was. I've not answered many of his calls for the last month or so, but he called me twice in a row, so I thought something was wrong. It started off pretty well, as he knows I am done with the drama. He asked how I was and how work was going. He's only come by twice to see our mom, but both times I was on work calls, but then he snuck in something he knew would bother me. He said that his soon-to-be ex-wife had been spending the money he's giving her on frivolous things. Therefore, he did not think she had paid the house note where she and the kids live. So I guess like the rent. I will say that he has sent her a good amount of money every month because my niece told me how much it was a while back, and he does pay it the first of every month. Now the wife is working, bringing in her own full-time income. She should have enough to pay what all of them need. Their mortgage isn't very high. But again, not my deal. What she originally wanted was for him to pay all the bills up there and still pay his own bills too. Well, that's not how things work, but I don't think they have a formal agreement through the courts yet. And before anyone asks, I have no idea why he hasn't filed or what's going on. I'm trying my best to stay out of it. I feel for someone who's trying to stay out of it, you know a lot. It seems like you've been forced into it.
You're clued in.
You're clued in, whether you want to be or not.
You're tapped. You've got your finger on the pulse of what's going on here.
I don't feel like OP likes that pulse. That pulse seems like a drag.
And it really does sound like, at least financially, like brother is more than capable of taking care of his kids.
Yes, but also it seems like he's sending money, but I feel like...
No, he's sending money to her, and she's the one spending it all.
Or get dragged into being taken advantage of. So he said if they lose the house, she would probably be taking the kids and moving back to her home state, and I wouldn't see the kids. He then said the only option would be if I could take them in. So there it was. The reason he called, I remembered all the great advice I got on here and did not fall for it. I told him he would have to take them in. He is their father. After all, I am just their aunt who already takes care of our mother. And I've gone far and beyond what most aunts do.
I feel like after hearing that on the phone, he just let out like a, yeah, you know, I knew
Fine, I'll take care of my kids. Mom!
Mom,
Help
she said
me.
it again.
If this guy was smart, he could literally like build a empire with these kids and get as much wanted.
Excuse
With
me?
the kids?
Yeah, dude.
beer.
Okay, hear me out. You somehow figure out how to make it. You teach the kids. You make it fun, and then boom. Hey, I need a. Here you go, Dad. You always get one, and it's profitable.
You have your kids start a microbrewery
Mm-hmm.
in your garage.
In the Bible of Riley.
Moonshine.
Page 1 in big bold letters is child labor.
It worked out well.
You know what Riley's going to do with his kids?
Put him to work.
Put him to work.
Yeah, a lot of my cousins did moonshine. It worked out fine.
He started rambling some excuse on why he couldn't do it. Apartment too small. Nobody keep the younger ones after school. Blah, blah, blah. None of which made any sense, but I did not fall for the threat. I told him I would hate for that to happen, but only he was in the position to stop it. And that I love my nieces and nephews completely, but I was not taking anyone in this house. I was at a friend's house and did not take long. My friend was so proud of me. I swear that he gets to drinking and feeling down about the mess of life. He wants to ruin someone else's night, or he wants attention. Not sure what it is, and I have no desire to figure it out. I am worried about them moving away. His wife's family are not the best people. Does anyone know if she can legally do that? I cannot let my mom or brother know I'm worried about it, or they will use that to twist my arm. This whole thing really sucks. Of course, when I got home, I had already called my mom, and I was not gone more than an hour. She tried to start too, saying what a hard situation he was in once again. I remembered all the awesome advice I got here, and I just said, he is an adult and got himself into the situation. I am sure he will figure it out and be better for it. I think she has finally accepted that she can no longer enable him, and I'm not going to do it either.
Good.
And she's not happy. I went back out there a few minutes ago and told her that I would help her get ready for bed and get her medicine. Her comeback was that I did not care about her and she should just would not take her medicine. She said she would be better off passed away and that family helps family, which I suddenly didn't want to do. I didn't fall for it. I have helped my family repeatedly and nothing changed. I would hate for that to happen or to not see my nieces and nephews, but I'm not going to be emotionally blackmailed anymore. And I am already one step ahead knowing what they will try next. My mom will say that he wants to move in here with the kids where they don't have to move away and that we will just have to help him with them. And by we, it means me. And by help, it means me doing it all because he will go on about his life paying for things and me doing the grunt work. That is going to be a heck no. She also claimed he was not drinking anymore. I told her that was not true and he was wasted tonight. Mom will literally believe anything he tells her. It's actually quite sad. But you know what's not sad? In fact, makes me extremely happy, Dakota.
What would that be,
Is
Sam?
that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's a little bit more to this story, Dakota. But any final thoughts before we get into the end of this thing?
I'm like trying to contain all of my rage
Yeah.
that I feel towards this brother. But also, like, I feel like
He's taking no responsibility. The mom is enabling and also taking responsibility from him and shifting it to OP. It might just be like OP is the most like competent person, most competent and emotionally available person in the family. And so just everything gets thrown on her.
yeah,
And that's just
clearly.
been her role for years and years and years.
But I'm wondering where the pressure on brother is. Maybe it's a dynamic where it's just been so long that it's like we've given up. If you're like, I am not taking care of these kids and brother needs to do it, like a good way to go about that would be to take an active role in like trying to get him to change.
Yeah. Which it does not seem like anyone is doing.
But that's the only solution that's going to make everybody happy is if you get your brother to wake up.
Well, we got a little bit more to the story. Let's see if the brother wakes up before the end. So I'm trying to be as strong as I can. And whenever I feel weak, I get back on here and look at the great advice I received. I did end up having the surgery. And when they got in there, it was not as nearly bad as they thought. And I've been recovering really well. But of course, the minute any of this starts, I instantly feel sick to my stomach. That is another reason I am avoiding it. I've always been very healthy. And suddenly my body is telling me I cannot take this anymore. So I have to listen to it. I hope everyone is well and good night. And that is where this story ends.
It's truly just a situation where it sucks all around, but none of it is on OP's shoulders, and it's not fair.
But that's where that story ends. My brother's fiance is tearing our family apart. I refuse to attend their wedding.
Well, that's a good reason.
My brother, 21 male, let's call him Sam, is getting married next week to his 28/29 female girlfriend. Long story short on how they met. He was stationed in Korea for the military for a few years and met the only Hispanic woman there. That's his type. We didn't know this girl or her background. And by the way, this comes from Dangerous Item 4758. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So later on, we found out in December that he had gotten her pregnant.
The classic.
Classic. My family was extremely shocked because my brother had no interest in settling down. I mean, he was like 21, let alone having kids. As time flew by, I was more focused on graduating high school, so I wasn't focused on my brother at the time, except when my mom came to me one day to talk about Sam's girlfriend, who we'll call Sally. My mother explained something that absolutely made my eyes pop out of my head. Oh my God. Sally had 3 other kids and still lived with her so-called ex-husband.
What do they say? Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
That's crazy.
Keep your ex-husbands right next to you.
Right next to you in the same house. I didn't quite agree with their living situation, but I tried to keep it cool because I love my older brother. Over time, my family planned many things to try to get close with Sally to learn more about her. For context, I have 5 siblings, including my older brother. I'm the second oldest. My brother and I have different dads, and the little ones have my stepdad. After she had my baby nephew, everyone was beyond excited to meet with him. So when she finally came to the States, we greeted her with nothing but love and respect. Keep that in mind, by the way. My baby nephew was an angel and the cutest thing, but a little part of me couldn't help but wonder where her other kids were. Turns out they live with their dad, and not only that, he has full custody of them. For some reason, that didn't sit right with me because I'd been told he was a horrible person. Anyway, we spent time with my older brother through the summer, at least tried to, but Sam hasn't exactly been in contact with most of the family, and month after month, it got more strained. Fast forward to the next year, I, 19 female, moved out of my hometown and in with my boyfriend, so I usually kept tabs on my family back home. During this time, barely anyone had been hearing from my brother. He and my mom had gotten into a fight about how they hadn't given the baby nephew any sort of vaccines or doctor's visits since he's been in the States. He's almost 2 and has been there for 9 months. Not only that, but he doesn't have proper child care insurance. My brother took the fault for it as he's been paying for Sally's stay in the States because she doesn't live here. She can come here legally, by the way. The only reason she stays here is that my brother got stationed back here a year ago in Texas, and we live in Louisiana. After a while, everything seemed good. They were planning to move in together once he found out where he'd be stationed next, so it seemed like everyone was getting along, but did I get that wrong? I was at work about 2 weeks ago and my mom called me. Keep in mind, she usually doesn't call me. I told her I was at work and asked if she could text me. She insisted on calling me to tell me what was going on, so I hurried through my tables and called her in my break room. She began by telling me how she might have just ruined her relationship with my brother. She told me that my brother and Sally had called my grandmother about getting married. Excited, my mom went to tell her, thinking it would be a good idea for both of them to share the news. My mom isn't on good terms with Sally because of how she's neglected my nephew. My brother hasn't spoken to any of us for months now and bails on plans to come see us on certain weekends. Also, she's been running in and out of the house preparing dinner for the family. And in Louisiana, the temperatures are 57 to 80 degrees outside. And with her cooking on the grill, she's not a happy person because she's been outside all day sweating. And for everyone in the family, they know not to mess with mom while she's cooking. That is true. You want to let the cook. Sometimes they need the domain of their kitchen.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Blech. If I'm cooking in the kitchen, which is rare, I don't want anybody stepping on my toe.
I like cooks in the kitchen. Or one cook, multiple sous chefs.
Maybe if we're like locked in and there's one more, maybe we're doing different stuff.
Like someone's chopping onions while another person's chopping bell peppers.
One person's chopping onions, the other one's crying.
She tends to get aggravated at the slightest thing when she's hot and sweaty. Well, my grandmother proceeded to run around chasing her with a phone while she was in and out of the house, trying to get my brother to tell her that he's getting married.
Tell me what's going on.
What they should have done was called my mom when she wasn't busy and talked to her. My mom snapped, as she usually does, saying, "Okay, I'm busy. I don't have time for this right now." My grandmother was shocked and continued to tell my brother that she was happy for them, even if my mom wasn't happy, I guess, that they were getting married. This fueled my mom's anger even more. After she finished dinner, she still heard my grandmother on the phone with my brother and Sally. She walked into the room and went off about how my brother isn't involved with us and never tells us anything. It's like he's completely shut us out. He doesn't talk to our siblings, and not only to our siblings, but he also doesn't talk to our parents. My mother has expressed how she couldn't be happy about something that he's refused to share with us and has kept us uninvolved with his own life. Keep in mind, he never told my mom happy birthday and told me a week after my birthday to say it as well. He doesn't check in, nor does he respond to any of us. So it sounds like what I'm hearing is this brother meets this girl while he's stationed away in Korea and kind of has like pushed his family to the side, just focused on this girl and his budding baby. And the family is a little bit out of the loop about what's going on. And he's like, "Hey, I'm getting married." And the mom's like, "I don't care. You haven't really kept in touch." I don't know if that is the best move on the mom, but also, the son should definitely be, reaching out a little bit more.
You shouldn't just be going, "Hey, guess who's getting married? Also, nice talking to you for the first time in 3 years."
I don't know. I feel like both are kind of doing wrong things right here.
Unideal on both fronts.
But what do you think? Like, do you think the mom should be like, you haven't been talking to me, so I'm not going to talk to you. I don't care about you wedding.
Now, I think once you get approached with this, you got to play a little more tactically instead of immediately just being like, "Who do you think you are?" You got to be happy first and then be like, "Hey, so like, did your wife isolate you from everyone else in your life?"
That's what it seems like is happening. Again, he's like 20, 21 or something, and she's 28, 29. That's a huge age gap. Even dating like a 25-year-old, as I'm 28. Currently seeing someone who's around 25, like that feels like a large age gap. But I feel like she's just been through a lot more life than him, and so can make him do things that are not necessarily normal and make him think that it's normal.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation where the dynamic can be exploited.
But I feel like in this case, it feels like he's being a little bit manipulated with like how isolated he has become from his family. But let me know what you guys think. Well, out of anger, my mom said that as far as she knows, she has no son. She left the room upset and called me. After hearing this, I expressed how upsetting that must feel. But before I could finish, my mom told me everything about Sally. The last time she was at our house, she told my brother that she would never come back because of the way we run our family. Remember, we didn't treat her anyway, which confused us. She went on to tell Sam that we shouldn't ask him about the baby or anything in his life without asking her first. She would nag and pick on my brother like he was stupid in front of us. Not only that, when she had to go to Mexico because if her granddad or dad was passing away, she took the baby and she lied about this whole sickness. My mom had seen photos of them at bars and drinking with her granddad or dad. I can't remember. She's manipulated and lied to my brother several times, and he has sent huge amounts of money to her while she stayed in Korea. She's told my brother she will never go back to my family's house until they apologize to her and invite them over through her and not my brother. He also said that he wasn't allowed to go to his own parents' house without her being present. She is controlling him.
When you're in a relationship and you start doing false imprisonment, essentially, it's not good. That's not a good relationship.
She has him wrapped around her finger.
Yes. In relationships, sometimes they can tell you not to go places because they care, right? If you have a gambling problem, they're like, babe, don't go to the casino. You can't go to the casino. That's good. Being like, you can't see your parents without me. Kind of weird.
Red flag after red flag we're getting with this couple. So hearing this shocked me. I never talked to Sally because she was always quiet and looked at me like I was stupid. I personally thought I was the most easygoing and loving person, so I kept my distance after a while. After talking to my mom a bit more, we hung up the phone and I proceeded to text my brother. Before I could do that, my mom also forgot to mention that he had been planning on marrying her and never told me. To his knowledge, until I texted him, he still hadn't told me. I put the screenshots below of what I texted my brother to make this shorter, when I know it's probably long as heck. Anyway, my grandmother texted me and asked if my brother has texted me about him getting married. I played dumb to avoid the family drama and said no. But when is he going to tell everyone? He hasn't spoken to me at all. She goes on to tell me that she's been talking to Sally because she hasn't been able to contact my brother for some reason. Because again, Sally's like, you can only contact your family through me.
Yeah, which is like absurd. Maybe this is like a first hot girlfriend scenario. 21, she's 29.
Dude, honestly, that is a thing. I dated a girl who, I was wrapped around her finger for sure. Anyway, she tells me their wedding would be at the end of this month. It's April, by the way. I was shocked to hear how fast this was going and said that I wouldn't make any changes with my work because it was on a weekday and because I hadn't been invited yet, even though I'm family. I left it at that, and a few days later, I found out that he's going to Korea in a few months, so we won't be able to see him for a few years.
A few years?
I am pregnant now and will miss the entire birth and won't see my daughter until she's almost 4. I'm very upset about this because we've always been close. By the way, you can listen and be close to us by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Did she say my daughter?
Yeah, OP's daughter.
Is going to Korea?
No, OP's daughter is about to be born, and the guy is going to miss her daughter's birth.
Anyway, I just misheard that.
My mom is very upset because not only is her relationship ruined with my brother, but she won't see her first grandchild until he's 5 to 7. I said to everyone in the family that I will not be attending until he apologized for letting this woman talk about our family, for disrespecting my mom, and for using my brother as a money bag. So, am I the a-hole for not going to his wedding? Short answer, I don't think so. I think he's given you no notice. He's wrapped around this lady's finger. It feels like you don't have much obligation.
I mean, this is one of those moments where I don't think you'd be an a-hole for not going to the wedding. Do I think that's the move I would make? I don't think so. Because from my perspective, I look at situations like this where I'm like, am I letting his partner win?
But that is where that story ends.